as China's have suffered.
It was many years ago that the Japanese, marching into Manchuria and into China, began what they thought would be the conquest of Asia and then of the whole world. And the ruthless cruelty with which they ravaged China was a perfectly clear indication of their intentions towards the rest of us. They showed mercy to none. On the contrary, in their uncivilized methods of sadistic persecution, they were worthy rivals of the Nazis in Europe. At the end of 1941, the Japs thought their great opportunity had come. Tension between America and Japan had almost reached breaking point, but negotiations were still proceeding. A Japanese gentleman called Kurusu was still talking glibly in Washington. This is what he said to the press.
Gentlemen, you all know how difficult my mission is, but I'll do all I can to make it a successful one for the sake of two countries, Japan and the United States.
Almost at that same moment, his country's Air Force was striking at Pearl Harbour. The plan, of course, was to cripple the Americans in the Pacific at one foul blow, and so gain the necessary time to secure their advance. It's true that they won a strategic success at Pearl Harbour, but with it they signed their own death warrant. You'll remember how President Roosevelt spoke to Congress at that moment.
December 7th, 1941, a date which will live in infamy. The United States of America was suddenly and deliberately attacked by naval and air forces of the Empire of Japan.
Up to now, the Japanese had never suffered defeat. They had won the war against Russia, and they thought that their victorious world-conquering destiny was certain. The military caste was supreme. The training of the Emperor's fanatical armies was tough, thorough, purposeful. After less than 100 years of contact with the rest of the world, Japan had learned much from the West and had learned fast. But all the knowledge gained was concentrated on one object: aggression, conquest. The Emperor? He was literally and directly descended from their god. Every Japanese believed it, and probably believes it still, except those who have been privileged to die for his glorification. One thing is certain: Japan underestimated the mind of the people she attacked and the leaders of those people. Of those leaders, Roosevelt and Churchill were the big two who made the downfall of Japan inevitable. And finally came Russia's declaration of war. After the Potsdam ultimatum, the atom bomb revealed by Truman. This was another lesson from America and Britain. Japan had had enough. In London, news of the Japanese broadcast reported acceptance of the Potsdam terms with a reservation about the Emperor. While still waiting for confirmation or denial, London began to celebrate. And if the end of the whole war was not yet official, the end was very near. The Japs had had it. Today, all the United Nations are resolved that never again must war be made upon the world by the Nazis of Europe or the savage fanatics of Japan.